What's up, everybody? I'm sure you're watching and you're a creative of some sort, maybe in the ad industry, PR, digital, whatever it is. I'm so glad you joined us. Do you ever feel like you're out there on your own? Well, I'm here to tell you, you're not alone. So I have a treat for you. You can thank me later. We had an amazing guest today for you. His name is Blair Enns, and he's well known around the world as a business development expert, a pricing expert, and I promise, after watching this, you're gonna be a better business person. Enjoy.
All right, first question comes from Franz. Franz says, hey Blair, how do you make the next step in getting bigger and more consistent clients as a busy small business or solo entrepreneur? When do you hire people and when should I just do it myself? So it's a really good question. I don't think there's kind of a universal answer for this. Try to see if you can't go deeper into your current clients because you already have that relationship. So instead of like going to trying to find new ones, just see what else can you do for that client. And don't worry about transcending the nature of your specialization because your positioning is really the language that you put out there to market yourself. It's not really about the work that you do, it's really about the work that you pursue. Once you have that client relationship, go deeper in. The second question, when do you hire people and when should I just do it myself? If your goal is to grow, I would say you hire people as soon as you can afford to do so. And there might even be times, depending on your propensity for risk, where you're going to push yourself and hire people even before you can afford to do that. And I've done that and it's terrifying, but it's been a rewarding experience. It could also fail on you. But if the goal is to grow, start to let go of things as soon as it's financially affordable. Our next question comes from Andy. It's a long question. Hey Blair, I've been freelancing for a long time, but only in the last few years does it seem like I have to constantly chase down clients to pay for the work that's been done. Ooh. I've had large agencies completely ignore a net 30 days policy that they have written into their own contract. Any tips or tricks to make sure you get paid in a timely manner? Yes. And I appreciate this comes from a freelancer, Andy, because this is absolutely vital to do when your business is small. You say to your prospective clients, you need to have a policy that you get paid at least a certain percentage in advance. And I think the minimum amount that you would require in advance is 50%. You might even consider 100%. I would try this. Our policy is 50% of the fee portion of the engagement in advance before we get started. You make it a policy, you never violate that policy. And then you offer an incentive, say maybe as much as 10% if the client pays 100% in advance. If you never violate that policy, if you never begin working before you're paid, then you will be fine. You'll at least have 50% up front. And there's no shame in saying, listen, we're a small business. If somebody like you, if you refuse to pay, or if you take 90 days to pay, or if you don't respect the clause in this contract, that can threaten the very viability of my business. It's not a matter of chasing clients, it's really a matter of you sticking to that policy. Next question is a nice short one from Lisa, who says, hey Blair, I'd love to hear your strategies for managing stress and overwhelm. I've worked with many different coaches over the years and all have had their own tips and tricks. There might be better people to pose this question to, but I learned a long time ago that stress is caused by the things that you do not do. So if you're stressed, my question to you is, what are you not doing? What difficult decision are you avoiding? Sometimes it's caused by things that are out of your control, but I think about 90% or more of the stress in your life is really caused by things that you're dreading, things that you haven't done, like had a direct money conversation with the client. Again, I think the trick is just to ask yourself, what are the things that you're putting off? Is it something that you should be addressing head on and you're choosing not to address it? So think of it that way and see if that helps. The next question is from Miles, who says, hey Blair, what are your thoughts on effective compensation structures for variable comp, whether salespeople, account management, etc.? When to bonus, when to commission? I don't know if I have a short answer to this. I've written extensively about it. If you go to winwithoutpitching.com and you type compensation into the search window, you should find some articles on it. So this idea of variable compensation. So it really starts in the world of sales or business development. That's usually in a creative firm where we're first starting to think about employing it. And then we think, well, account people, maybe we should compensate them the same way. My point of view is really just my point of view. It's a philosophy on it. And I prefer compensation plans that have, let's stick with sales first. In a new business position, I prefer very high base salaries from 75 to 90% of the target income, and then you make the rest up in commissions or bonuses. I prefer bonuses over commissions, and there's some reason for that, because not all money that your salesperson would bring in is of the same value. So you don't want to incentivize your salespeople to bring in the wrong types of business. So a bonus would be payable and might be a percentage of the deal, or it might be a flat fee when it meets certain criteria. You never want to put your people in a position where they have to do something untoward or unseemly, or makes them really uncomfortable on a personal level so that their children can eat. You never want to be in that position. We as employers, we tend to these highly leveraged compensation plans as a way of mitigating our risk. But very often, and essentially if the salesperson doesn't sell anything, we don't have to pay them anything. But often that covers up a lot of sins that we do as the business owner. We haven't properly positioned the firm. We haven't kind of articulated our policies of what we will and will not do in the area of new business development. So we're kind of pushing all of the risk onto the salesperson. I don't think that's fair to the salesperson. There are other reasons why I prefer a low leverage plan, high base compensation. Now let's think about the account people. You know my philosophy on salespeople, same applies to account people. I don't think, as much as I like the idea that the account people have incentives and see it as their job to grow the account, I don't know that it makes sense. Like, to start to financially incentivize. I think discretionary incentives in the form of bonuses based on performance, I think that sets a good precedence. There's no real kind of written rules on how people will earn it, but you'll reward people for the appropriate behavior. Let's just get rid of all of that. And for the most part, let's pay our people a really good salary and use discretionary bonuses from time to time. Dave Johnson, Dabs, asks in a video,
"Hey Blair, I got a question for you. When I'm trying to sell my videos to different types of clients, should I have one structured price, or should I be pricing depending on who the client is?"
That's great. Thanks for asking the question, Dabs. Rule number one in my book, Pricing Creativity, is you price the client, not the job, not the service. So the answer to your question is you absolutely charge a different price for a different video for different clients. You know, at the end of the day, everything that you do, whether you're in the video production business or you're in some other creative business, what you're doing at the end of the day and delivering to the client, it's different from client to client. Even if you think it's a logo here and a logo there, it's different. It's a video here, it's a video there. The needs are different. What the client values in each case is different. So you really need, instead of thinking of it as this unit of, it's a video, a 3-minute video, and I charge client A X for a 3-minute video, therefore that should be the price for everybody. You should be focused on the client. You should be going deep into what it is that the client wants through something we call the value conversation. Uncover what is it that you want, Madam Client? What are the metrics of success? How much value might be created here, economic and personal? And then ask the question, well, if we could deliver to you what you want and create all of this value, what would you be willing to pay for that? And use that answer to that question as really just the starting point. But the short answer to your question is you price the client, not the job, not the service. We have a question all the way from Dave in Zurich, Switzerland. I was in Zurich a couple of years ago doing a pricing workshop, great city. Hey Blair, I've been wondering lately how one could package brand strategy, business development / consulting, and design work into one big retainer package. But there would be different package sizes available for different companies. Is this at all possible? I've only been in the design / marketing business for 2 years, so please excuse my naivete. Cheers, Dave. I don't think that's a naive question at all. And it almost doesn't matter what the services are that you've mentioned here, but brand strategy, business development / consulting, and design. Somebody once said there's only 2 ways to make money in business: bundling and unbundling. And bundling is a fantastic strategy can be a fantastic strategy for a few different reasons. If what you do is seen as highly commoditized, one way around that is to bundle it with other services. But what you're really doing, I gather, Dave, is you're looking at the client's whole suite of needs and you're thinking, well, could I like package all of this up? And I think absolutely. And in pricing creativity, I talk about the importance of using options. That's rule number 2, always offer options. So you just imagine you're putting forward a proposal with 3 options. And option 1, the most expensive or high anchor option, is essentially the concierge, the bundled concierge level offering. And you can price it on a monthly basis, or you can price it as with a down payment to do the upfront work, and then a monthly package that amortizes, essentially covers all of these services ongoing. And then your cheapest price, your cheapest option, can be kind of unbundled, where you just offer the first, maybe the initial services, and if the client wants to hire you for the subsequent services after that, they can. And then in the middle, you can put anything in between in those ranges. So absolutely, I think it's a valid strategy.
Blair has blown my mind for so many years. Don't try to be Blair, be yourself. But put those truths that you wrote down, I hope, or that you heard, or you can go rewind and listen to it again, put them to action right away, and then practice, practice, practice. Now, next week on the show, we have another very special guest. My business partner, Chris Neal, will be here. And there's probably nobody in the world smarter than that guy. He thinks he's funny. I'll let you be the judge of that, but you're gonna enjoy his talk. He gets asked to speak around the world, and you're gonna get to hear him on this show next week.
People who are thriving are focused on being wildly successful, but also wildly significant. If you're a cult brand, you're gonna do something that nobody has ever done before.